Hey there, and welcome to another peculiar brief. I guess this will be. This could be a mail call, but I think I'll put it into the peculiar briefs. Just gonna take a quick look at a Carter machine Buzzard that I impulse purchased off eBay. I have no particular interest in the Carter machine markers, but I saw this pop up and I think I bought it within minutes of it getting listed. So if you're not familiar with them, it's a Nelson based pump. And if you're not familiar with Nelsons, I'll take it apart and show you. But the valve system in this gun is the same as the very first formal paintball gun. It's a dead simple and reliable valve system, and the Carter, I don't know what you call it, but this is kind of like the sports car or whatever, I guess, of that system. You could go get your PMI tracer for a few bucks, or you could get one of these for several hundreds of dollars. And it does have some nice, just not just the milling, the valve, the pump action is smooth. I, so far, have not had great experience with them. This is my third one. I've never had one new. I've only ever gotten them used, and all of them so far have had bad threads, stuff kind of misaligned, odd wear. I'm a little paranoid to take this thing apart, but I'm going to. I half expect to find that this screw here has bad threads up in the valve, because that's just this one screw going short distance into an aluminum back here that's taking the impact of the hammer. I wouldn't be surprised if these are stripped out. Grip frame, I've had bad luck with grip frames actually lately. They're all destroyed. I don't know what people are doing with the grip screws, but they're destroying the frames. So yeah, we'll just take it apart and have a look at it. They're not, I don't know, not my favorite marker. So that is not straight. Not at all. That's probably fine. Like the barrel itself, it's not sitting quite right. It's like flat there, and there's a gap here. Yeah, okay. This was definitely a player's marker, and it was listed as, damaged, basically. I think it was for parts. I'm sure it's fixable unless I get in here and something is horrible. So we got our, I think, stainless barrel. Somebody beat it on a rock or something. I don't know what they did. But this is a hard barrel, and it took a good bite out of it with something. It still threads into the marker fine. There's enough gap in the front to do it. But I'm kind of curious how they did that, and that, and that. But anyway, keep going from here. I swear these things, of the markers I've gotten, seems like the Carters have had some serious abuse. Or they're fragile. They could be fragile. I'm not, like I said, I never bought one new. That cock's actually without air. Cool. Trigger does absolutely nothing. So there can be an alignment. Yeah, okay. Nowhere along the travel is that trigger doing anything. So we'll get to that. You'll see we have these little clamp kind of grub screw things here. That's what's holding the front of the body to this rail, I'm pretty sure. We'll see when I take that apart. It's also the mounting bracket for the feed tube, and the back is held in by this screw here into the valve body. I really won't be surprised if that's all stripped out or at least mangled. And same thing with all the other threads on this thing, besides the... I don't know if this version has any threaded parts in the stainless. I don't think it does. So, yeah, and the feed is crooked on there. That's fine. So one of the things that does also annoy me, so it's minor, but excuse me, it's minor, but when you consider how fancy these are supposed to be, you'll see the feed is actually milled to fit nicely. You know, it's got that, I guess, concentric in the bottom of the feed, so it kind of lines up with the body, and then that. This was not milled, so it's you can't install this thing without it hitting the valve and messing up your nice ano. And then it wants to twist because you have two round objects tightened against each other, so now the feed is twisting itself. That's a minor annoyance, but still an annoyance because this is supposed to be the, you know, the fancy marker. At least I thought it was. So if I mess with it, I may get that mill to match. And I know you'd have, this is threaded into here, so it would mean you'd have to actually assemble it and then mill this part to match. But that's, you know, kind of the point of the sports car version of a paintball gun, I would think. Let's continue working through the camera screen. Oh yeah, that feels great. Okay, feed, see, nicely milled to match the body, and then just nope, not doing it here. So that gets in the way of the valve. No, it's not even threaded in, that's just pressed in. So, yeah, you could totally have just... I assumed it wasn't milled because it was threaded in, and then you would have had to actually mill it to line up the threads. But it's not, that's just twist in. There, that could have totally done that. Okay, so if... See how nice that fits? That fits so nice. If it wasn't for that feed. Anyway, stuff like that annoys me. Especially when it's supposed to be the fancy gun. So I think I want to take this off next. Actually, let's make things a little bit easier on myself. Let's go for this. Nothing special. I don't think this is in any way unique to the marker. Besides the fact that it's all dye. I don't think that's like a special, it's not like this is a Buzzard special part. Yep, there's some, yeah. So they don't feel, well, they don't feel good either. Yeah, those aren't great. They're not destroyed, but you notice they're raw. They're raw, and even looking down, it's almost like they were drilled and tapped after ano, which I don't... It seems like they wouldn't have done that. But that's what it looks like. So, I don't know. Keep going. Take this guy out. This thing actually looks cooler the more pieces you take off of it. This is just a air-through foregrip, also dye. Don't think it's special to the Buzzard. Alright, now let's go ahead and take this. No, let's take, oh, look at that thing. Okay, this is like a phantom airline. One of the small things that drives me nuts, not a problem with the marker, I don't think, just whoever built it worked on it last. This fitting's pointing down. This thing's angled. This is not right. I'm pretty sure that line can fit straight. It might be cut wrong. It might be cut wrong. And it's way bowing out. And super... It's really taut. So if you have used this line before, basically it's just a compression fitting with an O-ring instead of the metal lug, whatever the heck they call that insert. So this would I expect... That might just need to be cut, because it is super tight in there, and that might actually line up nicely if it was cut. So let me see. Grab a wrench for this. So, what is nice about this, no one has yet... see that mark? That's because of the stupid feed. Anyway, no one yet has made any idiot marks on the valve, so I'm going to try and not add any. So I'm going to look at the marker instead of the screen for a moment. Sorry if this drifts out of view. This appears to not be quite the right wrench. Yeah, in fact, you see all this. It's got the Teflon tape. Shouldn't need that. What the? Yeah, that's just messy. That's fine. You can deal with that. Same thing here. That is really... I'm surprised how tight the airline is into these fittings. I do like these airlines. I used them on some of my own builds. I had used one on a micro mag that I had set up for CO2. But you really got to make sure you get them... Well, you don't have to. I like things to line up nice and straight. Okay. That is now totally loose. Not going to be my way. Now we've got these two screws. This is another example of something I don't like. To put this marker together, you have to damage it. Like... Here, I'll take these out, or just loosen them out. Because it's just a clamp. And look what you're doing to your brand new, expensive marker. You're destroying the anno day one out of the factory. You're damaging it. Which you're not seeing that, but eventually you're just taking out bits of aluminum. You're making a mess. I do not like these things for maintenance. Continuing on. Like I said, impulse buy. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in these. I'm hoping this is not ruined. There's a decent chance it's okay. So one of the things, if you ever see one of these things and then it's kind of like this, or actually where the stainless part lines up with the rail, but then the valve is actually kind of slide out the back, it's probably jacked up. The threads that this screw goes into are trash. Okay, so you see how little, that's how little I had to back that screw out, and it's free. So it was just that tiny amount of thread actually into this valve body. Oh, it's already coiled. He might have done that. Well, that's good. It should have been, because the ones I've used that weren't proactively rethreaded, helicoiled, these threads get destroyed and the valve actually slides out the back of the marker. Yeah, you can tell I don't really like these. It's pretty, but whatever. Here's our body. Which is a nice looking part. So let me take the pump handle out. Or sorry, like these things. I think that's milled. Yeah, that's... I don't know. I'm just picky. I'm picky when I see stuff that looks like mass production. No, that's... there. So. Yeah, alright. If I remember correct, this is the velocity adjustment. You need a special tool to adjust it from the front properly. That will go into the holes in the bolt. And you can actually turn this guy out, which compresses and decompresses your spring. And the fact that these nest in, see how they nest into each other nicely, that's the anti-kink factor in them. Do I have, I might have, hold on, let me show you. These all have okay, I don't. All my stuff has anti-kink on it. But the original ones, they didn't nest in quite like this. So in the spring pressure from your hammer spring and then the latch on the bottom, you could get a twist. So the entire thing would sit like this. This is way over dramatized. But they'd sit like that and actually bind in the tube a bit, which made for the pump action to not be great. And this basically resolves that. As you can see, these things do have a nice smooth pump action. That moves no problem through the body. And it's also loose in the body, but not too bad. So, just gonna wait for that pump to turn off while we look at this. I need to look at that not through the camera. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Okay. I think there's like bits of Bondo or something. What is that supposed to do? Alright, so this would be somewhere around Meow. How is that supposed to work? So that would be when you're, after the thing's been cocked back, pump handles back forward, you have a ball now in the bore of the barrel, and so that falls something that doesn't even, oh, you can actually see it bumps the I will have to look up what the heck is supposed to be going on there. Something's not right. How do I get that? It's a pin. Of course it's a pin. Okay, we'll revisit that. Trigger assembly. I really don't know what the heck. It doesn't look right. I think something's missing or broken. Let's go ahead and take this off. And hope that doesn't strip something out. Again, we saw that was like 3 turns. Oh, that is not pretty looking there. It's still stuck. That is not pretty looking threads. Yes, this thing's just held together by like 3 turns of a screw. So if you look at, that's how much. 2. No, that way I just made up 3, but click. So 1, 2, 2 3/4. That's holding this together into just aluminum. Which, if this wasn't like, you know, holding the grip to everything else, maybe I wouldn't dislike it as much. But I'll see. Oh, I feel like I'm just making work for myself. Really, what is the story with this? That's so there's some wear there, and wear there. But so little. None of these pieces have much upward motion to trip the sear. So imaginary just kind of brushes it. So maybe there's supposed to be a ramp, some sort of ramp glued there. Well, if there is, maybe it's in here. Where is? Yeah, so I'm being really negative on this thing. It does have its, you know, upsides. Just not to me. See what we got in here. I hate these grips. I feel like those old gummy things you'd throw at the wall. Okay. Thankfully, those aren't destroyed. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's the nicest. God, it's all gross. Those are the nicest threads. Those are the nicest threads on the entire thing. So, what is holding this on at this point? Why would that one piece be made to such tight tolerances? Whatever. So it looks like what I have to do if I actually want to make this thing work, figure out what the heck's going on there. So it'll actually release the sear. What are the odds? Look at that. What the hell were you using to open it? Well, so this is nice. I'm glad someone already did this. Possibly he made them that way? I don't know. The ones I've had didn't have this, and the threads were destroyed. So that's, I see that as a good thing. But if you look in there, that's either, again, post-anno, there's raw metal, or it's from a long screw. You know, reaching in and gouging it out. I did say I was going to show this, I think. So, I might as well use pliers at this point. Yeah, try to avoid further marking this up. No, it's not even. These really do not have to be. Nelson valves. The Nelson system is really quite amazing. That is it. This is the entire system. See, this is all that's in here is your air. And you can't really see it, it's too dark. But that's just an air chamber. This is the actual working bit. Just the one O-ring here that seals it into the chamber. And your I guess cup seal. If I can get this off, this is a plastic one. So we got that, and your spring. So the idea is the hammer assembly, since I'm doing this, let's take this guy back out. For anyone who's not familiar, so when you're at rest, now there's normally a spring in here. I took it out to make this less of a nightmare for me. You pump the gun back, which comes back here, latches to your hammer. Commonly, that will only work when the marker is pressurized, as you're actually pressing against this seat there. So if the gun doesn't have air in it, it might just open the valve rather than actually cock the gun. But anyway, you pull it back, locks on, and then as you pull it forward, the whole assembly with the hammer moves forward. And if you have a working trigger, it pops up this little sear. Spring slams the hammer back into that seat, opens up your valve, you get a burst of air down through the power tube. And this one, we got this little velocity adjuster. Out your bolts. Dead simple. This design has worked since the beginning of paintball time. So that won't fail until something like this brass tube breaks or something. But this is very reliable. Feel like I shouldn't be ending this on such a negative note, because these are neat. It's a neat marker. You know, they're pretty. They have interesting milling on them. They are very smooth operating. When they're not ruined. It just seemed like the ones I come across, stuff like this is always the case. Destroyed threads, kind of hacked together, air lines. You know, it's a nice marker that I often see abused, which, you know, that's what they're made for. I'm definitely more on the collector side of things than the using side. So there's that. Man, that is... I'll have to get pictures of this. I don't know what... I really don't know what's supposed to happen there. I mean, I could just print up a part, like a ramp, that fits to the back of that trigger, so it actually, you know, does something. Because it looks like something was there and it fell off. And it's weird that there's this off-center wear. Why would there be wear just on the right corner? And there's, so while we're looking at weird stuff, there's a bunch more trigger. I don't know what all that's doing. That has no job. There must be something missing here. There's nothing for that nub to do. Springs over here. Of course, this frame, it's a die frame, no slot, so it's not like it's an autococker. I don't know if these were made specifically for Buzzards. Maybe they were. I didn't look anything up really. Like always, I just start opening things up and take a look at what I got. So, there we go. I'll probably do another video on it. I'll want to get it to work. I'm not sure in what form. I would like to use a 12 gram rather than a tank. Do I have... Somewhere around here I have the changer. Yeah, whatever. Pretend this is a 12 gram changer. That does not fit. That's the other thing. Okay. That does not want to go in more than like a turn. I don't see much difference there. I have to check diameters. This thing threaded in. This threads in no problem. Yeah, that threads in perfectly. That's great. Let me try something else. This is just a junky, I don't know, Sheridan reg. Oh, there we go. This actually went in. Okay, so it's... some stuff's gonna work, some stuff ain't. Hit or miss, I guess. So that'll be fun if I actually want to go buy a changer for it. Yeah, I'm really not making this thing sound good. But so I'll revisit it. I'll put stuff together, try and get it to work, make it pretty. Seriously, this, why is that not milled? Maybe it's not the right one. Well, it's proper anno. And that fits so nice until you install the valve. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop whining. And that's it for now. Talk to you later.